All right, and let's take the discussion further on the looting that took place in Soweto here in Gauteng yesterday. We're now joined in our studios in Johannesburg by the Gauteng Economic Development MEC, Maile. MEC, good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for coming through.
Afternoon, thanks for having me. I would also like to greet the viewers at home.
Thank you so much indeed. Now, we're reporting that yesterday's violence is apparently an act of criminality. It wasn't as a result of expired food as it was reported earlier. You were on the ground. What did you find? The
expired and fake goods, it's a real issue, as we have seen in the insert here. The raid that the mayor conducted there has proven that, yes, indeed, there are people who are selling fake and expired goods to our people, but that's not an excuse to take the law, for people to take the law into their own hands. We have to address that issue decisively, without any fear or favor, but at the same time we can't promote lawlessness and violence, and that is why we want to take this opportunity and convey condolences to those who lost their loved ones. And we also want to call for calm. We were there, we met with the police, we visited some of the shops, we interacted with some of the community members as well.
What are they saying?
Well, they were just giving an account of what was happening. Community members, the police also.
But are they worried about the counterfeit and expired foods, or is it just xenophobic or criminality?
They are worried about counterfeit goods. They are worried about not having an opportunity to compete fairly with those who are selling counterfeit goods. One of the property owners, because remember that the foreign nationals rent properties or shops from the locals. So one of the family members of that property who are saying they've decided that they will now start running their own shop there because it will give them relief. And those are some of the people we are going to look for, to say the locals who want to operate the shops, how do we help them as the provincial government, working with municipalities, help them to register, help them to comply with the law, help them with funding where possible, and also help them with the market access. Because
I wanted to talk about this issue, MEC, to say that the problems that we're seeing and experiencing now, do they not speak to the issues around the regulations of these businesses, of course, which is a point that's been raised many times by the local business people?
We've got, all municipalities have got bylaws, and I think one of the weaknesses is that they are not standardized. So as a provincial government, we are going to look at the possibility of introducing a law.
But how far are we? Because if my memory serves me well, Gauteng Premier David Makhura made mention of that particular point earlier in February during his State of the Province address.
We have started with that process. The first step was to make an audit of all the bylaws. We have finished that process. That's why I was saying we are investigating the possibility, because we must look at the law, whether it is in our domain or not, and all that. So it's not just about putting the law. If we have to consult with national, with municipalities, but the process has started, I can tell you now with confidence.
It certainly is a very long process. What happens in the meantime? We've had residents telling us here at the SABC that their children fall sick after consuming these expired foods, and this issue has actually been out there on social media, for example, for quite a long time. It looks like government is not necessarily responding. We've seen Ekurhuleni Mayor, of course, conducting one of those raids previously. What has government done?
In the meantime, there must be law and order, and we must also intensify these raids by various government agencies and different spheres of government. They must not happen only as a PR exercise. They must happen even when there is no media. So we need our inspectors, the police, and everybody to go to these areas unannounced as well, and consistently. We need to have a program that will be known by everybody, that either once a week or twice in a month in this area there's going to be visits by inspectors, by other authorities to make sure that we monitor. But we're also calling on our people when this come, when they discover these things, they must bring them forward to us. The foreign nationals are renting from our people, like I've said. So as property owners, shop owners, our people must not allow illegal activities to take place in their premises, because it's an illegal activity to sell counterfeit goods. So they must also bring this issue to the fore.
All right. So from where you're sitting as government, do you think foreign shop owners should be worried now? We've seen many of them, of course, packing their stuff away last night in Soweto. Should they be worried, MEC? We've just had the African Diaspora Forum chairperson here in studio was basically saying that there's even a planned attack for the 29th of September coming.
Yeah, well, I think if they have information, they must hand over that information to the police.
But is the government giving them that proper protection and cooperation?
I think the police and all agents of law enforcement have a duty to ensure that everyone who's in our borders are protected, but they also have a duty to ensure that those that are here illegally would have to be deported as well. So the police will definitely not allow anyone to be attacked simply because they are not South African. That is illegal.
All right, MEC, time constraints. We have to leave it at that. But of course, this is a developing story that we'll be keeping a very close eye on. Gauteng's Economic Development MEC, Maile, talking to us about government's intervention to ensure that everything goes back to normal after yesterday's looting.